Now everybody knows you're a brother of Jalen Williams, who's currently in the NBA playoffs, the Oklahoma City Thunder. But I am curious, though, has it been helpful having a brother who's currently in the NBA? What have you learned from him going through that whole process that's helped you out here now?
Most definitely, just having a guy at the next level that's in your family has always been a huge advantage. It helps, especially going through like high school and college. He was always at the level that I wanted to be, so he was able to give me advice.
I'm here with Cody Williams in Santa Barbara, California. Potential top 10 pick in the 2024 NBA draft. Cody, how you doing today, man?
Doing good. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. How are you enjoying Santa Barbara? Are you happy out here?
Oh, for sure. I'm enjoying just being by the beach, get away from all types of distractions instead of being like a crowded, huge city. So I like just being out here, being able to grind and kind of just get better.
Now everybody knows you're a brother of Jalen Williams, who's currently in the NBA playoffs, the Oklahoma City Thunder. You have your own path, potential one and done here out of Colorado. He spent multiple years in college. But I am curious, though, has it been helpful having a brother who's currently in the NBA? What have you learned from him going through that whole process that's helped you out here now?
Most definitely, just having a guy at the next level that's in your family has always been a huge advantage. It helps, especially going through like high school and college. He was always at the level that I wanted to be, so he was able to give me advice. Kind of just showed me the work ethic that it took to get there and kind of like the ins and outs of the college system when he was in college, giving me tips. I know adjusting to college, the first 2 months of like practices and scrimmages, I was like, I feel like I'm behind everybody. I feel like I'm a step slower. And he was just telling me you're going to adjust. And then I ended up getting used to, playing at that level. And then I started to strive. So I think just having him go through every stage that I want to be in and him being able to give me that kind of advice, especially when he wants what's best for me, it's just been huge for my development.
Now, you went to their first playoff game, OKC, this postseason. What do you remember from that night?
Honestly, I think the biggest thing is I got to hang out with him. That was kind of huge, especially because I didn't get to see him a lot during my college season. And, he's busy with his season, so I try to let him stay locked in. But the biggest thing, my whole family's out there. We got to spend time with each other. And then just that environment is electric, especially because in Oklahoma, there's not too much going on. So when you have a young, exciting team like that, who's the number one seed making the playoffs, that environment is just insane. Everyone's wearing the white T-shirts. Everyone's loud. Everyone's doing the chants. And it's just a really, almost felt like a college environment almost when you have those rivalries and the whole crowd's just doing chants and going crazy. So it really just gave me that kind of feel.
I mean, amazing playoff. I mean, it's probably one of the best of the league. I haven't been to Oklahoma yet for a game. I want to get out there for a game. It's just, if schedule allows. But I mean, that seems like one of the top 5 home crowds probably in the entire NBA. Do you like, is it important for you to kind of be like in a place where the crowd is intense and like, does that drive you with that type of atmosphere?
Oh, for sure. That type of atmosphere is always an advantage. I'm sure you've seen the clips online. Like you have people barking in the stands. You got they say 60-year-old ladies are out there barking every time they get a stop. So I think when you have that kind of environment, you have the support of fans like that. It motivates you to give it your all out there because you have a fan base that supports you to that extent. Almost pushes. I know Jalen feels that way. It almost pushes you to make you want to do the best you can out there and give it 100 every single play. So I think that, just having that kind of crowd is a huge advantage.
How would you describe what your role was at Colorado and what type of role do you expect to have early in your NBA career?
I think the role that I had was kind of just being versatile and doing whatever the coaching staff needed me to do, whatever they need me to do to win. If they had me playing, putting me on their best player, they think, the biggest offensive threat on that team, that was my task for the night. If it was guarding a shooter and shutting him down, taking away his threes, that's what they had me do. If there was a team they knew I could get downhill, they'd put me in a lot of ball screens, get me downhill. If it was a team that was slower and didn't like to play fast, they kind of used me to get the pace going and push transition and have me run the floor. So I think my biggest role was just being versatile and doing whatever the coaching staff needed me to do.
How do you expect that to change in the NBA?
I don't see it changing a whole lot just because my game translates really well to the next level, just my IQ and just my feel for the game, making the right reads, making the easy, simple, one more plays. So I think in that aspect, my play style isn't going to have to make a big adjustment. Obviously, I'm going to have to learn, the rules, like you can't sit in the lane, there's defensive 3 seconds and, just getting used to the spacing in the league. But as far as just my play style and my role on the team, I feel like it translates really good to the next level.
Now, this past season for Colorado, you shot over 40% from three, only on like 1.5 attempts per game. What do you need to do to increase your volume as a shooter, both off the dribble and off the catch?
For me, I'd say obviously just shoot it more because that'll open up a lot of things. I know a lot of teams' games plans was to not really give me open looks. There's some games I was getting denied full court, even when I didn't have the ball. But I think for me, just learning and watching film is the biggest key for me. I do say a lot with defense too. As I become a better defender, I'm going to learn that through film. It's the same way with shooting. You watch film and you recognize what shots you couldn't take, what shots you should or shouldn't take, what spots you can get to in order to, shoot a three or shoot a pull-up. So I think the biggest thing for me is just to keep watching film and kind of recognize, the spots when I can shoot and when's the right time for me to shoot a three.
Now, every young player early in their career, for the most part, unless you're Victor Wembanyama, you come in right away and you have a massive role. But even like your brother's teammate, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, he comes in, he plays a lesser role for the Clippers early in his career, and he grows into the star he is now. As you kind of project ahead with your own career, do you see yourself as that type of player who has superstar upside, or do you see yourself more as like that superstar role player type who can elevate an SG8 type? Like, how do you kind of see your path in the NBA?
I see my path really helping my teammates any way I can, helping my team win any way possible. Whether that's me coming out and, playing 30 minutes a game, if it's me coming out playing 10 minutes, but it's the hardest 10 minutes I've ever played in my life. I think the biggest thing for me being successful is just give it my all out there and not really, not necessarily worry about minutes or how much I'm playing, how little I'm playing. For me, it's just really give 100% effort because every time I give it my all out there, it always works out. It's the biggest thing my mom's been harping on me since I was little is every time I play with effort and 100% passion, everything falls into place. So for me, not necessarily worried about, how many minutes, if I'm going to be superstar this, superstar that. For me, it's just taking it one practice at a time, one game at a time, and kind of just giving it my all, then everything else will fall into place.
Do you have a lot of athletes in your family?
Yeah, I do. My mom, both my parents played in the Air Force, not the Air Force Academy in Colorado, but it was like one of the teams in the Air Force. My sister did track, and then obviously my brother plays basketball. So, and then I found out I have a cousin who's 7'3", I believe, played basketball in college, and he's really talented. So
what's your height? Were you measured at P3 here?
Yeah, they measured at 6'8".
And what's your wingspan?
7'1".
7'1". Okay,
Yeah.
so as you grow into your frame, as you get stronger, you have the potential to be like one of those super versatile defenders.
And that's my hope, really, just because I have all the physical tools. So just watching more film and becoming a better defender, that's something I really want to lock into.
Because that's what can earn you minutes. Is consistently, every coach is going to reward good defense.
Yeah, and I feel like it's definitely not easy to be a great defender. And since I have the tools to be one, I want to take on that challenge and accept it and really see what I can do in terms of defense.
Now, I'm curious if you've seen this from P3, but one of the guys at P3 showed me how the way they measured you athletically lines up a lot with your brother athletically.
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen those stats, those numbers?
Yeah, they showed me the little grid and the graphs and the numbers, and they showed me how we move really similar.
Even your left hip is the same and all that. What?
Left hip, your right ankle, you guys push off in the same way or exert the same amount of force. So I think that's one of the big advantages of coming to P3 is you could really compare yourself to other elite athletes, such as him, and kind of see how you measure. And then obviously they can tell you what you need to work on in order to get better. But I always find stuff like that cool where you can kind of compare yourself to the guys whose position you want to be in. Do
you find data helpful, even with NBA or playing basketball in general? Do you like data, stats?
Oh, for sure. I'm not heavy. I will say I do like stats, but I'm not one to overanalyze and be thinking about it in the game or stuff like that. But I will look at it if I'm shooting, let's say I'm shooting 52% from this corner and I'm shooting, 45 from the other corner. I might tell the coaches hey, I like this corner. Is there any way I can shoot from this one? Knowing what spots I'm comfortable in, I shoot the highest percentages. I might be my go-to, but I'm not really over analytical when I'm thinking about percentages or how many shots I made or how many shots I missed during the game. But I do find that stuff very helpful. It kind of helps you, find your go-to spots.
I mean, I think at the NBA level, you'll probably be blown away with some of the tracking data they have. It's like you'll get data like if you're doing a scouting report on a guy who, how he shoots going off a screen towards his left or to his right. And I'm sure like coaches will condense it down into like consumable information. Cause like you said, you don't want to be thinking about numbers out there on the floor. You want it to be instinctual.
Yeah. And Jalen actually told me that his rookie year, he said it was crazy how like analytical they are, how many statistics and percentages they track in order, to get the advantage on the other team. Like you said, if he takes one dribble going right, he shoots this percentage. But if he takes 2 dribbles into a pull-up, he shoots this percentage. So try to get him to take 1 dribble and shoot it. And then he said to me, there's guys like Kevin Durant, where it's just like make every shot hard.
Yeah, like shoot like 60% on those.
He's like, he's going to make them, so just make every shot difficult. But I definitely think it's cool how many statistics there are and all the data they use to kind of help you, offensively and defensively.
Now, your brother took a leap, from his freshman to sophomore season in college, and you're just a one and done. Can NBA teams expect like a similar type of leap year by year that they've seen your brother experience, in college and then with OKC? Is that kind of like, do you expect a year-to-year leap like that for yourself?
I feel like anyone that has an elite level work ethic and, really wants it and really strives to be great will make leaps each year. If you're working hard and you're getting better every day, you're taking every rep serious, treating every rep or practice like a game, there's no way you don't improve. So for me, like if I just keep working hard and, keep God first and obviously, put my head down and keep working, there's no reason for me not to, keep making improvements year by year. But I think the key to that is just taking it, one day at a time, one practice at a time. And then that's how you stack good days. And then that's when you see those leaps each year.
Is there a specific skill that you've been working on during this pre-draft season that you've seen yourself improve at?
One thing I will say is ball handling. I definitely got my handle tighter just because Packy was telling me, in the NBA, you're kind of able to use more moves, kind of get to your spots. In college, they kind of harp on, you got 1 second, make a move or kick it. But in the NBA, they give you a little bit more free reign to kind of be a hooper. So I've definitely tightened up my handles and then just extending my range. I know the first week I was here, it was getting to that NBA 3 is far. I didn't realize how far it was. But now that I'm adjusted, I'm shooting it great in my workout. So I think the biggest thing was kind of my handle, my shooting consistency, and obviously in the weight room getting stronger. I know I'm not going to put on 30 pounds in like a month, but just stacking those days, keep getting stronger. P3's been testing. I've been getting stronger every week. So those are kind of the biggest things I've been focused on.
What's your current weight?
It depends. It goes from like after I work out, I'll go to 185 and then, just wake up, I'll be 190. So.
Now, what is your ideal weight when you're in your physical prime? Like, is there a number that you kind of envision?
Are you talking like years down the road?
Yeah, years down the line, yeah.
I really don't know what a good weight would be. I mean, for me, the whole thing is as long as I'm strong, like.
And retain your fluidity and all that. Yeah,
retain the fluidity. Yeah. Like Kevin Durant, like he might not be, built like Shaq, but he's strong. No one's knocking him off his line. No one's pushing him out of the way. If he wants to get to a spot, he's going to get there because he's strong. So I think for me, the biggest thing is just keep getting stronger, but I really don't know what an ideal weight would be. How
would you describe yourself, personality-wise in a team setting when you're in the locker room, on buses, and in a huddle? What are you like? Are you vocal? You more of a lead by example? What are you like?
For sure, I'm just loud, goofy. If you ask anybody in the locker room, I was the one playing music, or the one just having a good time. Really, like I'll just talk to my teammates, always having a good time, always laughing. Always just trying to bring good vibes into the locker room. As far as, on the court work ethic, I kind of like to lead by example. I learned how to talk more in Colorado. That's one thing they taught me, because regardless of how old you are, what position you are, you can always talk on the floor. So using my voice was something I learned in college. And really that's kind of the energy I bring. I try to lead by example while also being vocal. So those are kind of like my biggest qualities.
What's your biggest motivator?
Biggest motivator, honestly, would have to be my parents. Just as I get older, you kind of realize the sacrifices they made for you. They don't really realize, like you never really, saw them filing out their taxes or trying to figure out, how they can cut expenses in order so you can, get a trainer or they can pay for you to play on an AAU team. You don't really see them working the 12-hour shifts, coming straight home, not eating, taking me straight to practice or taking me to a workout. Even though they're exhausted, still staying up until I get home to make sure I'm safe. So when I started to kind of recognize those things the older I got, going through high school and going through college. So for me, I just want to make sure that their sacrifices weren't in vain and I'm making the most of the advantages that they gave me. So for me, just, making my parents proud and making all the sacrifices they made worth it, that's really my biggest motivator.
How many siblings do you have?
I have 2. Yeah, both older brother, and then I have an older sister.
Okay, I see. And I mean, do you and like obviously you're about to become an NBA player as well. Have you and your brother talked about that? Like, when do you remember first having those conversations with your brother, like as like basketball players, thinking we can help our family out with this?
For us, it never really focused on the money aspect. It was more just kind of we have a love for the game, and our parents are doing everything they can to make sure we're successful. And we're going to take advantage of the opportunities that they gave us. But I don't really think we've ever talked about the money aspect of it.
I mean, like not even the money aspect as much as like, recognizing. Like, how old were you when you recognized my parents are doing a lot for us?
Ooh, I'd definitely say as I got through, I'd say it started high school. I kind of started to understand the value of money and to really put into perspective the kind of sacrifices they made for me. And, back to the earlier point, that's kind of what drives me to, be the greatest I can be.
Do you remember when you first picked up a basketball?
Maybe like 1 year old. I have pictures of me when I was like really a little baby, like dribbling the basketball. Like a little toddler, just walking around dribbling the basketball. I don't really know what I'm doing. But it's crazy. I actually did different sports. Like I did cross country, I did swimming, I did a little bit of baseball. So I just experimented with a bunch of sports, but basketball was like definitely the day one sport.
What was it about basketball that you just kind of resonated with you?
I think a lot of it was being in a basketball household. A lot of my family's from LA, so a whole bunch of Laker fans. That's a huge basketball culture. Wanting to be like my brother, I'd seen that he liked basketball, he loved basketball, so I was like, oh, I'm gonna love basketball too. I'm gonna be just like him, and that's kind of what drove me. And then as I started to pick it up more, started to work out more, I really started to fall in love with it. And then, like ever since I can remember, I've just always been playing basketball. So for me, it's kind of just a part of me. It's always been a part of my life, and yeah, I think also the biggest thing is just wanting to be like my brother. I saw him playing basketball, so that's what I wanted to do.
When did the seed kind of get first planted in you that you could be like a professional someday doing this?
Professional, I definitely say when I started getting recognition kind of on the EYBL scale. I started getting some offers, I think around like junior year, senior year, because I believe that's when Jalen started testing the waters. And when he got drafted, that's when it really clicked for me, because I'm like, I grew up with this dude. I was playing against him ever since I was little. Been playing against his teammates because I was playing up. I'd go to their practices just to play against some older guys, play against more physical guys. So when I saw, my best friend, the guy I grew up with since, ever since I was born, get drafted, kind of snapped into reality that he set the blueprint for me. He showed me exactly what I needed to do in order to go where I wanted to go. And, that just drive me even more. I feel like that was just a cherry on top to be like, this is where I really put all distractions aside and really just focus on basketball.
Now, you said he's your best friend.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
Have you guys like ever had a stage in your life where you butted heads at all as brothers, or were you always kind of like really close?
I think it was a brief stage. It definitely wasn't as bad as I know a lot of siblings have, but there was definitely there's definitely a little period where we would kind of just butt heads, just always picking on each other. I think it was that age where I was snitching on him, snitching on the older brother, trying to get him in trouble. But I think after we got past the snitching stage, maybe like I was 10.
What's something you snitched on him for?
Man, anything I could. He wouldn't let me play the game. I was like, I'm not letting me play the game. Just little stupid kid stuff. But once I got past that stage, I kind of realized we had each other for life. And my parents really put into perspective. They said, you're going to have each other long after we're gone. So you guys have to make sure you stay close and you guys stay each other's best friends. And I think ever since that moment, we've kind of just been super close.
You guys keep in touch every day?
Saying
every day you guys keep in touch?
Oh, for sure. Well, it's just snapping each other, texting each other, FaceTime, playing the game. Like, we'll at least always talk every day.
What games you guys playing?
Man, just Call of Duty. Just like we'll get on for like an hour. Warzone.
That's the way to go.
Yeah. Well, we'll only get on if we have like a squad. Like Andrew and Michael will get on, and then Jaylen will get on, and then I'll get on. And then we'll kind of play for an hour, get mad, get off, and then go to sleep.
Why you get mad? You guys not good?
No.
You guys not getting dubs?
We used to be really
dubs
good.
every
We used to be
day.
locked in, but stop playing for a few months, and then you get back on. It's
A lot
like,
of sweats
man,
on there,
yeah,
right?
you lost your touch.
Yeah.
I'm like, so we get on, get mad for about an hour, get maybe a win.
And they're always changing the meta around, different guns and all that. You don't have time to rank that
I don't have my classes made. I'm like,
Right.
let's just see
You're
what
just on
happens.
there getting blasted. You guys are the bots.
Yeah. I'm really just target practice out there. That's why I'm not in the game a lot. But I try.
Call of Duty, that's video games. But with the NBA, like thinking similarly, if there's a move that you could download that another player uses, either current NBA player or a former NBA player, what's that move that you would install into your own game?
Ooh, I say SGA's bump, how he bumps people, uses his shoulders. A lot of times he'll spin off it. But, I've watched a lot of film on him. Me and Packy break down a lot of guys' film. Watch how he uses his body. I'd say Kevin Durant's pull-up or his mid-post game. That's something I've watched a lot of film on. I'll try to incorporate, into my game just because I feel like we kind of play similar in a way. And that's just one move one player I've always kind of looked up to just because he's long and lanky. He always just rises up over defenders, no one to block in his shot. So I think his kind of mid-post and how he just gets to his pull-up and gets to his spots, that's watched a ton of film on that, and I'd say that those are probably like the two things I'd download for sure.
Anything from your brother you want to take from him?
I wouldn't say it's a move, but I'd say his energy on the court. I'd 100% take that if I could. He's just electric. You can see he's always smiling, just having fun. For me, I've always been kind of more stoic. You can never tell if I'm angry or sad or happy when I'm on the court. I'm just locked in hooping, but I'd definitely say I'd download just his personality on the court. He's so fun to watch.
It's all a balance. You need the calming presences like yourself, and then you need the energizers. It's all important, all those different personalities in the locker room. Last question here. What do you love most about basketball?
Obviously, I'd say basketball itself and really the connections and the people it brings you closer to. I still talk to coaches and players that I played on a team with in second grade. You travel all across the world, meet new people. You get to go to these different venues, different places, just kind of experience the world. So for me, I feel like besides actually the love of the game of basketball, the biggest thing it brings for me is just connections, new people to meet. That's how I find, my friends for life. The Egbos, I found them through basketball, play on the same high school team. And I feel like just the connections the game can bring you and all the places and people you can meet just throughout the game of basketball really makes it, one of a kind sport.
Well, Cody, I'm excited for you in this part of your journey. You must be feeling awesome, man. Like this is probably a good time, right?
Oh, I love it. Just get out here and get better and then, get to live out my dream.
Well, Cody, appreciate you, man. Thanks for taking this time today, man. Good luck the rest of this entire process.
Thank you. Appreciate you for having me.